5, and I'm in New York City. I had flown there to visit Beverly, who was working on the Catered affair for director Richard Brooks. And I was concerned because she was working with the film star Bette Davis. The same Bette Davis who some 20 years earlier had introduced me to the glories of ass play at the business end of a bespoke strap-on. Now, I hadn't seen Bette since I got married, and I was a little concerned because there's always a chance of some tension between, the wife and the old girlfriend. I needn't have worried, though, because when I got to the hotel, they were already at the bar. 3 martinis in and thick as thieves. So the 3 of us are whooping it up in the bar, swapping war stories about the old days at Warner Brothers, when suddenly Betty says, "By the way, Beverly, how often are you putting it to Marty with the strap-on John Huston and I sent you?" And I froze up mid-sip. To quickly recap, when Beverly and I got married in 1942, John had sent us a strap-on as what I assumed was a gag gift. "Well, that's not really something we do together," I said. "Beverly's not really into that sort of thing, and I'm trying to talk around it because one did not use words like pegging and strap-on in Eisenhower's America. Except for Betty, for whom the term DGAF came years too late. "You mean Beverly has never," and I stopped her before she could get out the P word. And I said, "Well, Betty, to be perfectly honest, I've never really let anyone else, go down that road." And suddenly Betty grabs my hand and said, "Marty, maybe it's time we go down that road again." And I froze up like a dog with a biscuit on his nose. I mean, honestly, Betty was offering to peg me, with Beverly sitting right next to me. Now, don't get me wrong, I missed getting rightly rogered, but at the same time, I was not about to cheat on my wife. So I stayed absolutely still, under the mistaken assumption that if I didn't move, eventually they'd leave. I only flinched when Beverly finally said, "I wouldn't mind watching that." It turns out the 2 of them had set this up about a week ago as an early birthday present. Beverly was not into this kink, but she didn't want to deprive me of the experience. Never let it be said that I was unlucky in marriage. Well, sadly, it did not go as well as I hoped. Now, I can't speak for every man, honestly, but speaking for myself, when you get older, parts of you start to become less, so shall we say, pliant. Long story short, I ended up in the emergency room, and Bet's publicist had to work overtime to keep it out of the papers. Thomas Wolfe was right. You can't go home again. But at the same time, I loved Beverly for giving me the opportunity to relive a part of my youth. And in the end, it's the